What's going on, everybody? So, in light of recent events with the loss of my first deer to a bad shot, I've never been an advocate for Luminox. I don't necessarily like them in Excalibur bows. I think Excalibur has just too much raw power coming out of it for something to be slapping the back end of carbon. I don't care if you got just a small little knot, little bitty opening there, just enough to turn it off. I don't care. I don't like it. It's just asking for problems, in my opinion. But had I had Luminox, then I probably could have been able to tell a lot sooner that it was a bad shot with the Tactacam, because I'd have been able to see the Luminox flying through the air. Yes, I know you can go with Igniter Nox, which I'm much more of a fan of in Excaliburs. Like I said, due to the sheer force and, basically violence that comes out of an Excalibur bow when you squeeze that trigger off. There's no cams, there's no let off, there's nothing. It's just straight 270 pounds of kick ass from the start. So I think you really need that aluminum bushing in there. Now, that being said, the igniters are nowhere near as bright as the HD Orange Luminox. I do know that. I have used both. Last year I experimented a little bit with the igniters, and they're not bad. In the daytime, you're not going to see them. I used red and green. You're not going to find them in the daytime. At night, they're bright enough. Which is when the shot took place, was 2 minutes before legal shooting hours were over. I had till 6:33. I shot the doe at 6:28, so I actually had a little bit more than 2 minutes left. But it's neither here nor there. The jury is still out on the G5 Montec. I can't necessarily blame the broadhead for poor blood trail, as it was a poor shot on my part. It's the first one I've ever made. It was bound to happen, I guess. I was joking around with a buddy of mine today. The Banshee is 8 for 8 on deer from anywhere from 10 to 32 yards. This Mag 340 of mine, I don't know if it's just got some bad juju or what, but my target buck I shot this year, shot him high. I did recover him, everybody knows, but this doe, 14 yards is a chip shot, especially as much as I shoot. And I hit her high. I was aiming higher than I typically would have. Lesson learned there, no big deal. Other than, I wounded a deer, I hate it, but it's bound to happen. So that's really got me thinking about my arrow setup. Now, I was using just the stock factory quills with the Rhino Nock in the back. Obviously, that's why I couldn't see the arrow go through when the shot took place, because it was too dark outside. It was 378 grains with a 125 grain G5 Montec M3. I mean, for where I hit the deer, she bled like crazy for a little bit. But this is kind of my holdup with these G5 Montecs, or any fixed blade really. I've never used them until now. I only have experience with 2-inch mechanicals, okay? So here's my holdup with the fixed blade. She didn't bleed at the site of impact. Not very much. Went about 10 yards, she bled really well. Then it died down to a drop here, drop there. About 20 more yards, I mean, she was spraying blood everywhere. Then she laid down in the creek. There was no water in it, just a ditch, and left a pool of blood. And then when she came out of it, there was no more blood whatsoever to be found. You know, I've never experienced that with like a Rage hypodermic or the 125 grain Mega Meats that I used last year. They had parts of our lungs were hanging out on the trail, blood trail. I mean, anybody could follow. Ray Charles could follow the blood trail from a Mega Meat. The only reason I had considered switching this year was every deer other than one that I've ever shot with a mechanical head has ran 100+ yards, all on good shots, right behind the crease of the shoulder, down around the heart area. Wasn't high, wasn't too low. They were all extremely good shots, and they all ran like the devil himself was chasing them. And I've always heard this myth of, you know, fixed blade heads. They go through them if they're sharp, and the deer runs 20, 30, 40 yards and then stops and is looking around. Well, this deer, she did run about, 20, 30 yards. She did stop for a second, and then she took off running again. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything to it or not. The Montec M3s are super easy to sharpen back up again. They're way sharper than the original Montecs. I think they changed the bevel on them. Just laying them down on a Smith sharpening stone, of course, and a fine, and then I stropped it, and I mean, it's back up to just slide it over paper, and it cuts. It's no big deal. But the question poses itself, if I was still using my big 2-inch G5 Mega Meats, which I also happen to have right here, these big nasty behemoths, would I have clipped the spine? Would I gotten more of the lungs and been able to recover this deer? I don't know. This has been tried and true. This right here, this exact head, minus the new blades and new collar, took all 3 of my deer last year. And my big buck this year. So it's taken 4 deer just with replacement blades. Still spins perfectly. I think a lot of that goes to that solid steel ferrule that the blades go into. Yeah, when you shoot one with it, you got to take a toothpick in there and clean out all the, hair and stuff that's in it. But, I mean, 4 deer with 1 head, just replacement blades. I can't really complain about that. So, and these guys are super duper sharp. So I'm thinking that I will probably just go back to what I know with this mag and go with a big G5 Mega Meat broadhead. I also moved up over the shoulder this year, trying to get more into that heart area based on the vitals of an actual vitals deer target, where they show where actually the heart is. And the first time I shot high, the bow was tore up. I didn't realize it, and I penetrated through the scapula and down into the heart. It took him out. I mean, he didn't run 40 yards, so I can't complain there. This time it didn't work out for me, though. I'm typically a right behind the shoulder in the crease kind of guy. But all that being said, I think I might possibly go back to my Mega Meats. I've always used out of the Banshee. I don't know about this mag thing. I've always used these Zombie Slayers right here. They've been super good arrows. Last year I ran igniters in the back of them. Didn't have any trouble out of them. The igniters are heavy. They're like 42 grains. So they add a lot of weight to your arrow. So that's a downside of them. But they do have the aluminum bushing. So there is that. I've got 4 quills, all factory. I've got them noctuned, as you can see. I've got them colored in. I've got 4 zombies, which has been my go-to arrow for the last 2 years. Got 4 of Black Eagle Executioners from me out of Excaliburs, the Banshee included. These don't shoot well. I don't know if they're underspined with 110 grain head up front, plus, 125 grain broadhead, because that's typically what I use is a 125. I don't know. They just don't fly well. I don't like them. And I know it's the same thing as the Quill, but the Quill has a 60 grain insert in the front instead of 110. And then I got something new this year that my pro shop wanted me to try out. I haven't hunted with them yet. It's the Easton 9mm. It says that they are thicker walled and more durable, and they penetrate better. Kind of looks like almost like a Zombie Slayer, but there's absolutely no flex to this arrow whatsoever. It does shoot just fine out of the Mag 340. I got them with a 100 grain brass insert up front. It's either 61 grain aluminum or 100 grain brass. I went ahead and got them with a 100 grain brass insert. I can't really tell that they're any thicker or anything. They look the same to me. They feel thicker, like thicker walled as far as the thickness of them goes. So they might be a really good arrow. I don't know. Of course, I've got them fletched up with tried and true white blazer vanes, 3-degree right offset. This with a 125 grain head is right at 415 grains with a Lumenok in the back. These with a Lumenok with a 125 grain head, 92 grain insert, they're right at 405, 410 grains. So pretty close to the Eastons. No big deal. The Quills, obviously, with a 125 grain head up front, they are going to be running right at 382 grains with a Lumenok on them. So, I don't know. I'm waiting on New Fletch to send me some more of the aluminum bushings because I did damage all of mine, and they have a lifetime warranty, so they're sending me 9 more of them as replacements. I don't know when they'll be here. I don't know if they'll be here in time for this weekend. We got some cold front coming in. We're going to have a huge temperature drop. We're going to be in the 20s night on Saturday night. So I plan on hunting Saturday evening, Sunday morning. Take advantage of this cold front that's coming in. Hopefully with better results than I had last time. So here's a few options that I'm looking at here. Of course, I have all these arrow combinations minus the Executioners. I won't shoot them. They just don't shoot up to my standards. I've got these 100 grain Muzzy 3 blades. All aluminum design. I don't really know how well they'll hold up. I'm curious about fixed blades. I just don't know. And then, of course, I've got this little bolt cutter right here, 150 grainer. I'm sure it will penetrate like nobody's business. But the Montech had full penetration, and it stuck 3/4 of the way in the dirt the other night. That's a small cut. So I don't know. I don't know about that. I can see where the spotty blood trails come in. And of course, here's the G5 Montech M3. I have sharpened this head and I have stropped it, and you can see right there it's got a mirror finish to it, and it's sharp as can be. I mean, it'll cut you easily. I like the thought of a cut on contact fixed blade like this. I don't know. 99% of archery is confidence in your equipment. I have full confidence in the Banshee. I'm 8 for 8 with it, no problems. Not so confident in the mag. I don't know what it is with that bow in me. It just something's off. We got to work through it for certain. The Banshee may get the next outing this weekend. It might get his turn to get back in the field. I hope to have the igniter inserts before this weekend. They're shipping them out tomorrow. I don't know if I'll get them or not. So if I don't, I'm going to plan on using Luminox in one of these setups. More than likely, I'm probably gonna go back to what I know, and I'm probably just gonna put Luminox in the back of my zombies and run the G5 Mega Meats. I might run the Eastons. They do seem, I wish I had a pair of calipers that would tell me, but they do seem to be thicker than the zombies. Let's see. They're a little bit thicker. Just doing my own little, finger pushing test. They seem to be a little bit thicker. So I don't know. That is my option setup here. I've got Montech M3s. I've got bolt cutters. I've got Mega Meats. I've got 100 grain Muzzy 3 blades. I've got Luminox. I've got the other New Fletch igniter. So we'll see. We'll see what I decide to go with. Another thing I don't like about Luminox, well, I guess I'm ranting, a little bit, but I don't like having to shake the back of the shaft with them in there. That's got to weaken the back of that carbon. It has to. Not saying they're not a great product, because they are. They're the brightest sliding knock I've ever seen. In an Excalibur, they scare me. Especially with carbon. If you shoot aluminum, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I think you'd be fine. But man, in the back of carbon, they absolutely terrify me. I don't know. I can just see a lot of bad things going on with them. But hey, if my new flashes aren't here, then I've got to do something. Because I won't go to the field again without them. Without something that I can look back and see my shot on and tell me. And I know ultimately you just got to make a good shot. I understand that. But ultimately things do happen. She was slightly quartered towards me. I was aiming for an exit, and I just aimed high, getting it to come, thinking it was going to go down. I should have just aimed where I typically would aim at on that deer, right above the shoulder, about a quarter of the way from the crease up the leg, and I would have missed the leg bone and all, and it would have been gone. So lesson learned there. Don't have any issues with the quills. They shoot absolutely fantastic with the Rhino Nox and 125 grain head. I know it's light. I never shoot under 400 grains. But it did good. I don't have any issues with it. You don't need a ton of power for a deer. My recurve bow at 45 pounds, shooting 140 feet per second with a 500 grain arrow will go through a deer without any question on a good shot. So, there's that. I've tested the loudness of it on a 400 grain arrow versus a 375 grain arrow. There's not much difference in the sound as far as dBs go on the dB tester on my phone anyway. Was it easier on the limbs? Probably so. But Excalibur has a great warranty. I don't have anything bad to say about them. They took care of me on the mag. So it's just one of those things. Got to make a decision though. I'm going to try to make a decision tonight on what I'm going to put back in the mag. It's either going to be between the quills, the Eastons, or the zombies. Like I said, the executioners, I'm not going to do anything with those. Unless I take the heads out and I put in some 80 grain inserts that I've got here. But typically, Black Eagle uses really good glue, and I typically wind up messing up the front of the shaft. I put a wobble in it when I try to do it, so I typically don't mess with those front ends very much. So that's this long 19-minute basic rant over me changing up my setup. After that deer has got me thinking. So guys, I appreciate y'all checking it out. Stay tuned. There will be another video on what I finally decided to put in the Banshee and in the Mag 340. I can almost guarantee you though, without a shadow of a doubt, the Banshee will probably get the Zombie Slayers. I probably will stick with the Montec on those just because I think it would serve well with that bow to have a good cut on contact broadhead. Although I've never had any issues with a 2-inch mechanical out of it. I've shot many deer with Rage and 3 last year with those G5. So all right around the 405, 410 grain mark. So yeah, just doing some searching as far as new setup goes and just changing out for some lighter nocks. Appreciate everybody watching.